Celebrate Reading Week 10K. Now, Aman.
Good afternoon, everybody. We welcome everyone to the Reading Week show of Grade 10K.
Reading Week is celebrated every year to highlight the importance of literacy for individuals and the society as well as the need for augmented efforts towards more literate societies.
One of the basic reasons why reading is important is that it helps you to grow mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. Every book gives you an opportunity to learn new things and explore new ideas. Reading books increases your knowledge and makes you smarter.
The more you read, the more words you gain exposure to, and they will inevitably make their way into your everyday vocabulary.
Another one of the many reasons why reading is important is that it allows for creative thinking. Reading can inspire you when you're feeling bored, down, or in a rut. It can help you give that very needed pick me up without having to search for it too far. Reading helps you to get the creative side of your brain thinking, unlike television that really does not use much of the creative brain power.
Reading allows for a greater perspective on the world and on others. Reading can take us outside of our closed off bubble, allowing us to see a different view on the world, one outside of our own. Reading is a chance to live through the lives of others without stepping outside of our comfort zone or even traveling anywhere else. It's a chance to live another life without even leaving your home. It will transport our imagination to places we have never been before and perhaps never ever knew existed.
Reading can help improve your vocabulary. Saying new words out loud helps you better recall them and pick them up, making these new words part of your own daily vocabulary.
We have talked quite a lot on the importance of reading in our lives. Now let us head on to the fantastic activities planned for the show today.
Chetan Prakash Bhagat is an Indian author and columnist. He was included in Time magazine's list of world's 100 most influential people in 2010. Bhagat graduated in mechanical engineering at IIT Delhi and completed an MBA at IIM Ahmedabad. He is known all over the world for his amazing novels.
So, to begin the show, we will be having a meet and greet session with Chetan Bhagat, where Zayed will be playing the role of Chetan Bhagat.
Yes, Zayed, will you be able to the camera and you can present? Or you want to? If yeah, yes, thank you.
Namaste. You all might have recognized me, but for those who do not know even my existence, I'm Chetan Bhagat. I'll give you a brief introduction of myself. I'm a poet, and what I mean is that I do not write something that readers will eventually throw it away. My works contain stories or guides, but commonly it's based on my homeland, India. Well, since you're all here, I'm going to talk about myself to all of you here. I was born on 22nd April 1974 at Delhi, India. At that time, I grew up in a middle-class Hindu family. My father was a colonial military soldier and my mother worked in a government job in the agricultural department. So basically, me being a student meant that my family is constantly busy. When I was at class 5, my teacher forced me to do something for the school magazine. I submitted a small joke, and then when I saw my joke in the school magazine, I felt greatly impressed of myself. I graduated with a BTech degree in mechanical engineering from the Indian Institute of Technology in 1995. I stayed in the hostel in room number NB24, which somehow it is considered lucky for other students who live in my old hostel room, since it consists of two others, including me, who lived in the same room. In 1997, I graduated with an MBA degree, and I was awarded as the best ongoing student of my batch. After my graduation, I started my career as an investment banker, but I left it since I want to fulfill my passion of writing. I have written eight fiction and three non-fiction books, in which my first novel, Five Point Someone, was published in 2004, which has been a bestseller. I have been invited to speak at various institutes and organizations in India and abroad. I have also been active in social media. So if you are interested to share anything with me, you can go to my social media page. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my session and I hope you all have a pleasant and a safe day. Dhanyavad.
Yes, excellent work.
So, Robert Frost is an American poet. He is known for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century, using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime and is the only poet to receive Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He became one of America's rare public literary figures, almost an artistic institution. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic works.
Now we will be having a meet and greet session with one of the world renowned poets of the world, Robert Frost, where Kaushal will be playing the role of Robert Frost.
Yes, good. Kaushal, you can open the cam and do, if it possible.
The camera doesn't work.
Okay, no issue, no issue.
Courage is the human virtue that counts the most courage to act on limited knowledge. That is my philosophy. Good morning, young children. My name is Robert Frost. I'm not here to talk about my life story. You kids can find it on the internet. I'm going to share some knowledge that might help you children. Everybody has said that courage is the greatest virtue, but the point of what I said was we have to go ahead on limited knowledge. A general has to go into battle on limited knowledge, insufficient knowledge. And someone has said a poet ought to learn all that all the other poets have ever said before he undertakes to say anything, so he'll avoid repetition. But if he did that, he'd be 50 years old before he started, and all the poetry that was ever written was started somewhere between 15 and 25. You got to start on insufficient knowledge, and you got to have that kind of courage. As a young man, I worked as a mill hand in the shoe industry. I was a small town editor, a school teacher, and a farmer. But I was a farmer all the time when I was doing other things. I always had a farm in the backyard. But I got something out of working on a newspaper. I learned that I had to wind things up. I used to leave things half written, but things couldn't go in unless they were rounded out. Teacher, I ought to say. I got something out of being a teacher. I had to make things understood, and that put me in the class of poets that wanted to be understood. Old as I am, I'm not self-conscious enough to tell you I like to be called a humanist. I guess pretty well, though I'm not strictly a humanist. I'm not a nature poet. I've only written 2 poems without a human being in them. Only 2. So before I conclude, let me recite one of my poems which you may have heard of. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great, and would suffice. Matthew Arnold said nature is cruel, it's man that's sick of blood, and man doesn't seem so very sick of it. Nature is always more or less cruel. Hope you enjoyed.
Yes, thank you very much, Kaushal. Yes, we all enjoyed. Thank you very much for that. Here is your appreciation. Yes, now.
You all must have heard of Hamlet, Macbeth. These are some world's most famous plays. A play is a work of drama, usually consisting mostly of dialogue between characters and intended for theatrical performance rather than just reading. The writer of a play is a playwright.
William Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde, Samuel Beckett. You might have heard of these names. If not, these are the most world renowned playwrights.
Coming up, we have Shashwat, Amanpreet, Shahid, Asher, and Ibrahim, who will be speaking on the topic famous plays and playwrights.
Thank you. I call up Asher for talking about the great legend William Shakespeare. Asher.
Yes, Shakespeare was an English playwright, poet, and actor, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. He is often called England's national poet and the Bard of Avon.
Second of all, I call upon Amanpreet to give a brief introduction about the playwright. Amanpreet.
Thank you, Shashwat. A playwright is a person who writes plays for the stage, because the name of such a text is drama. Another word for this person is dramatist. The word write does not come from write, it is an ancient English term for a builder.
Thank you, Manpreet. And today, now I am going to talk about the legend William Shakespeare and his contribution towards the field of literature. William Shakespeare added about 1,700 words to the English language by invention or combination and by borrowing roots from other languages. In his place, he created highly complex characters with rich intensity and constructed enduring plans and have become touches for English literature. Now I call up of Shahid for telling about his famous playwright. Shahid.
Yes. The most famous playwright may be William Shakespeare. A lot of later work is based on his tragedies and comedies. For example, Kiss Me Kate is based on Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew, and his Romeo and Juliet has been made again many times. Tom Stoppard created the play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead in 1966, which is a modern adaptation of Hamlet.
Good information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shahid, how is your name here? Muhammad?
Muhammad Suleiman.
Muhammad Suleiman. Okay. Muhammad Shaji is there. Sultan Muhammad is there. Muhammad. In that not your name, isn't it? Muhammad Suleiman. Yes, continue.
And finally, we are going to have a debate. The debate is on the topic fictional literature versus old school literature.
The topic of Group 1 is fictional literature and the topic of Group 2 is old school literature.
Okay, so you can start the debate.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm-
hi,
The members you
I'm
can
Al-
introduce.
So the whole
Okay,
class
I'm
is divided into two. Roll number 1 to 17 will be in group A, which will be talking about fictional literature, and from 17 to 34, it's the members are of group B, and they'll be talking about old school literature.
Okay. Yes.
So now you can start
okay,
with
so
the introduction for your topics.
I'm Aditya, and I'm part of the modern literature or fictional literature. So I would like to give an introduction for my team. So basically, fictional literature is a part of modern literature, and it is basically a new era wherein these poets, story writers, and composers they created a new method or more imaginative and creative way of writing rather than constricting it to a certain set of rules.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yes.
okay, so the introduction of group A now. B.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kyle, and today Group B is going to talk about the topic Old Literature. First, I'll start by talking about the history of the Old Literature. The Anglo Saxons formed the basis of English culture, religion, and language and ruled England for 600 years. The Anglo Saxons first introduced Old English literature in the 5th century. The Old English language, or Anglo Saxon, is the foundation of modern English. A classic is a book which, with each rereading, offers as much of a sense of discovery as the first reading. A classic is also a book which, even when we read it for the first time, gives the sense of rereading something we have read before. A classic is a book which has never exhausted all it has to say to its readers.
That's Kyle, isn't it? Kyle
Yes.
is in the yeah, yes. Now you can start. Yes.
Well, I would like to.
Yes.
So, what I think about all literature, it has a broader meaning than fiction, since fiction is just a type of literature. And unlike all literatures, like fiction is like based on superheroes, supernatural beings, and every single things or locations that are unreal to us. While all literature can be based on mostly realistic places or something based on history before, which can be considered real.
I would like to contradict that point, man.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
So Zayed was saying that classic literature is better because it it teaches you a lot about history. But the main reason why people tend to read is to go away from their problems or just relax and calm their mind. And one of the problems is that you don't want to be reading historical facts. And I feel like modern literature is much more um, relatable to the current situation rather than a very nostalgic old school literature. And one of the merits of modern literature is that students or a person who is from this era can relate to it in the present and the future, and can create relationships with the characters in the books and thrive their imaginative skills.
Yes, good, Kevin. Yes. Anyone want to share their opinion or they want to contradict that?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Please tell the next.
classic literature explores the timeless questions and struggles of what it means to be human. So then, when you explore these questions, you exercise the deep thought that classic literature demands. You emerge with valuable insights which make you better equipped to actually solve problems rather than simply gripe about them.
Yeah.
I would also like to add on to Kyle's point.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Can.
and old school literature, it tends to have a lot of depth and symbolism and culture, which we all know is very important. And whereas in most modern literature or fiction, all the writing is straightforward with almost little to no depth.
Yes. Very good. Yes. Now we move on to. It's for or against with them.
I'm against.
Yeah. Yes. Please tell the name.
Kevin.
Yes, Kevin. Yeah.
Ma'am, Harry said that modern literature, no, modern literature lacks depth. If you look at most of the syllabus that we currently read, most of the books are technically modern literature. And in each of those books or stories that we have learned in the past, there's some certain value that each story has and the particular theme that it conveys. And more than another point that Kyle said was that it helps you face your life. So many stories in the old school literature have no correlations with modern literature and the current scenario because it was mostly classified between the upper class and lower class. And if you see in the current situation and scenario, we don't follow such a judicial system and separation of castes and discrimination on such a large basis. So many characters in those stories, when we speak with old school literature, we cannot correlate with them because we are not in the current world where we face such problems, as the 21st century is much more open to um, equality, and the people um, tend to treat each other as equal humans compared to the 20th century.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
I have
ma'am,
for the
Yeah.
fictional literature, ma'am.
Ah.
Ma'am, fictional literature is created from the imagination of a person. It's not presented as a fact. Ma'am, it may be a true story or situation, but it helps a person to go deep into his or her imagination and explore the things that one cannot do in this world.
Ma'am,
Abdul
ma'am, I
Muhammad.
would like
Yes.
to
Yeah.
go for the old school literature, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
See, ma'am, there, Kader has a point, ma'am, but then it's all theory, it's imagination. And what old school literature is about their facts. Like all old school literature is timeless, ma'am, because the theme that runs through these books are relevant forever. They are not just for a limited region or time. They have to do it with the trials human can face and how to find the fortitude to overcome challenges. It helps to overcome our challenges, ma'am.
Okay, and also the press. Okay, yeah. Later after that, I will give the conclusion. Yes.
Can I say about old school
And
literature?
also, ma'am, I would like to oppose Kevin's point. Kevin said that modern literature promotes a lot of equality and stuff. But the thing is that that is true to an extent, but we still, as a society, we don't treat everyone equally. And I hope you're aware of the Black Lives Matter protests that are going on in America right now. That is still a fight against racism. So even though you're partially right, I would say that racism is not completely abolished today. And also, where you said that a
Ma'am, I
modern
never
literature.
said that discrimination was completely abolished. I just said that it's much less compared to the past.
All right, I
They're covering it much more, like because they like this time now, like you can see like there are racism happening everywhere, but they don't they before they used to make it a big deal. Now they just take it as a joke. So, but it's not meant to be taken as a joke. That's the problem. They have to take it seriously and end it.
That's what we are. That's what old school literature is about. It's telling us about the previous past, which had a lot of discrimination, and it shows us. It tells us some ways we can prevent that, even from making it into a joke.
Yes. Now we
Ma'am,
move on.
ma'am,
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
ma'am, also old school literature gives you a new perspective. Like it gives you a perspective to look through the author's eye. Like at that time, we learn what was happening at that time, and like what were the problems going on, and what were the lifestyle we can find out by reading old school literature.
Yes. Now you have Muhammad Khan, Mohamed, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am, Zidane.
Yeah, Zidane. That is only one M.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Now, as a conclusion, the literature is every time the literature is there, isn't it? Whether we want to continue with this or we want to move on to the next program. That
You guys
means
conclude.
yeah,
Continue.
continue with this debate. And you have anything more?
No, ma'am, there's nothing, ma'am. We'll just
Yeah, okay,
conclude.
I will give you a game. Okay, it's a word game for everyone. Before going to end, so that literature every time it should have some certain values, and if either it is old or new, we have to get the good values from that. That is the main thing, isn't it? Now, how many minutes for the bell?
I'm a couple of minutes.
12
It's fine, ma'am.
yeah,
We can extend it.
yeah. So you can start. I can start that game. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes,
Are you ready for
Yes,
the game?
ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Just wait. I will just open. Yeah. So this one, it's a rule. It is all the students can participate. The first thing you have to do it is you have to say the name and give the answer. You're able to see the screen?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Wait. I will share. Yes. Now I hope you can see.
Yes, ma'am. Now we can see.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now the time begins now. You can create a word from this. You can see the screen. Whoever say, you have to note down the points. There is no negative mark. Those who are giving the answers, you will get 1 point. But the rule it is, before giving the answer, you have to tell the name and you have to give the answer. Are you ready? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, yeah, please give the answer. You can create a word. 10K, time starts now. Anyone, you can try.
Now we have to make our own word.
Yeah, no, you have to not make a
No,
word.
there are two words
clues.
over here and pictures are there. You have to make
Yeah.
one word.
Rent.
You can create one word.
Ma'am, cash price?
Cash price. Who said what is the rule? Tell the name.
Ma'am, Khadir.
Khadir said cash price. Okay, the second option. Another one.
Rent.
Yes.
House rent.
I'm rent.
House rent. Who said? Please tell the name.
Zayed.
Zayed said house rent. Yes. Then
Parent.
parent. Who said that?
Mummy Hashbir, ma'am, parent.
Hashbir said parent. Okay, the third one it is Hashbir said parent.
Yes.
Any more?
Ma'am Kaushal,
Ah.
you're moving in a house.
Moving in a house. Now we can check. Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Now we can check what is the answer. Who is correct? 4 students. Yeah, okay, ready? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, who is correct?
Hashbir, ma'am.
Ashbir. Okay, now for the next. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, now move on to the next. This is so easy.
Ma'am, toothache.
Toothache.
No, rule it is.
Toothache.
Rule it
Ma'am
is.
Hashbir.
Name.
Aditya toothache.
Yeah,
Zayed.
Aditya toothache. Then,
Yes.
yeah,
Father,
okay. Yeah. Okay, we can have a look. So that is why I thought, okay, the one it is so easy.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Yeah.
toothache.
Very easy, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, now. Now.
Green.
Kaushal pant.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
who's
Khadir, peasant.
Kaushal.
Father said peasant, then, yeah,
Ma'am,
then
peanuts. Ma'am Hashbir, peanuts.
peanut. Ashbir said peanuts, okay, then
Ma'am, Zidane pant.
pant, okay, okay, then, okay, can we move on to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pant.
Peasant.
Who
Peasant.
is correct? Yes, you have to tell the name and you have to
Yes,
tell.
Ma'am, I told
Ma'am, Khadir said.
No one wins this one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now this one. Yes, for you. Are you ready?
Ma'am Hashbir, credit card.
Credit card.
Credit.
Ashbir said credit card. Any other option? Others, all so many students are there. Why you are not participating? All the students, please tell. Yes. Yes. Can we move on to the answer, or you want to try a guess?
Ma'am, answer me.
Answer, ma'am.
No, you give the answer one.
It's not correct, right? Credit card.
Yeah. Whatever it is, you please tell.
Ma'am, sick card.
Sick card. Okay, we can have a look.
Yes, ma'am. Sick card. Fluid.
Fluid.
Flu and ID.
Fluid. Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, bhai.
Yeah. Now this. I want to know who will say the answer for this.
What is the second?
Ma'am, what's the thing on the right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you have to have a look at. No, I will not
Once
give you
it-
any clue. You can tell your name and you can give your answer. So the time 12:40.
We don't
Till
even know.
12:40. Yes, one more minute. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Ma'am Hashbir, Milky Way.
Milky Way. Who said Hashbir? Milky
Ma'am,
Way.
ma'am, ice cone.
Okay. Okay. Who said that?
Khadir.
Khadir. Okay. Then any other option?
Microscope.
No. Space bar.
Ma'am, where is bar?
Oh, it looks like a bar.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
bar. Yeah. Okay. Now. Now. Please time up. I have next class. Office. Okay. Then. Yes. Office. Yes.
Ma'am, it's
good.
office only.
Yeah.
Office.
Yeah. This is also so easy.
Eardrum, ma'am.
Eardrum.
Yeah. This one.
Strawberry.
A fruit.
Strawberries. Straw and berry.
Strawberry.
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 Yes, ma'am. Strawberry.
Now this one.
Office Wi-Fi.
Connection.
Oh. We
Network.
can have a look.
Network.
Cabinet.
Cabinet.
Cabinet. Now.
Derail.
Any other option?
Drain.
Defense.
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 Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Then.
Forehead.
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 Yes. Okay. Now.
Earphones.
Radio.
I'm a radio type. Radio type.
No.
Radio type.
Something. Any other than radio type?
Earphones.
Stereotype.
Stereotype.
Stereo-
Bhai.
Stereotype.
Okay. Now this is so easy.
Steamboat.
I'm
Steamboat.
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 Yeah. This one I think only some students will tell. So time up. Can we stop?
We have conclusion, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Conclusion.
I'm spearmint.
Marshall, not that. Marshall.
Okay. Yes. Now we move on to the conclusion. Yes. Please conclude.
Red hat.
In conclusion, reading
Ma'am,
is
it's
important
gateway.
because it develops our thoughts, gives us endless knowledge, and lessons to read while keeping our minds active. Reading a good book is like taking a journey. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more you learn, the more places you will go.
Reading books can help us learn, understand, and it makes us smarter. Not to mention the knowledge, vocabulary expansion, and thinking skills we develop. To conclude this show, I would request everyone to inculcate the habit of reading in yourselves, and this decision will change your lives. And as Helen Exley once said, books can be dangerous. The best one should be labeled, "This could change your life." Thank you.
Thank you very much, all. I hope all the students enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
Thank
Group
you,
2
ma'am.
Thank
wins.
you.
Group 2.